Hello and welcome to businessesforsale.com. I'm with Nick Pili, the head of mergers and acquisitions for businessesforsale.com. And we're here to talk about what's happening with Merger Vault. Nick, how are you today?
I'm good, Marcus. How are you, sir?
Good. How's America?
Great. Love it. Best time of year. Humidity's gone. Getting into the fall season. We love it over here. Thank you.
For those that aren't aware about the Merger Vault on Businesses for Sale, which we launched during the pandemic to focus on the higher end business opportunities, typically the low end of the what we call the mid market or middle market. But it's often that kind of what they call the sweet spot, which is too small for the really big M&A firms, too big for the sort of high street mom and pop store brokers. Um, and it's kind of hit the ground running. Can you, Nick, explain to our viewers who follow businessesforsale.com developments what the Merger Vault is and how it works?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you gave a good sort of summary of how it sort of started. So, obviously, as you know, traditionally, we've always been known as an advertising network. And as such, brokers obviously have an account with us. And what seems to happen, obviously, certainly, for good listings as well, they get overwhelmed with inquiries. So we've obviously been talking to many brokers to find out how we can better support them with their businesses. And the overwhelming feedback is really that quality of leads. Obviously, they don't have the time always to go through 50, 100 leads that come through. So the service that we started to offer brokers, as you said, during the pandemic, was really more of a buyer qualification service. So what we've now set up, fast forward to today, and we certainly work with brokers, obviously, as you say, at that lower mid-market sort of area. I think our sweet spot really is sort of that 1 to 10, $1 to $20 million valuation of a business, is that we will do the first round of filtering on the buyer inquiries. So what that really entails is we'll work with a business broker. We'll obviously work on a full confidential basis. We don't ever reveal the name of the company that's for sale or the website or any sort of revealing details. But what we do is we will work to understand, who the right buyer is for that business. Is it an owner operator? Is it more of a strategic buyer? And we'll obviously gather all of that information, understanding, what sort of valuation or expression of offer that broker is looking for that business. And really, what the right sort of buyer needs to be. So not only will we then, take that information, understand, what minimum liquid capital a buyer should have, what years of experience, any nuances, any qualifications, etc., etc. We will take that information. We'll craft our own teaser on businesses for sale within our new M&A Vault section. We'll promote that obviously very extensively. And we'll start to qualify leads that come in. But more than that, we've now accumulated, as you know, businesses for sale has been around 30 odd years. We've got a very, very high quality database of buyers from around the world. And our job now is actually to go into that database and re-speak to those buyers. Obviously, criteria changes all the time. People's circumstances change. So not only have these people originally been qualified, but our team now goes to requalify those people to say, look, we've got this manufacturing business in Oklahoma. This is the high level EBITDA. This is high level what they do. These are their customers. It's been established for so long. It's a typical baby boomer business. The owner's looking to retire and exit gracefully from the business, willing to stay involved. And we'll start to speak to those buyers, and those buyers that sort of pass our checks that we get a good feel for. We gather obviously that buyer's requalified information, how quickly they're looking to move forward, what's their financial circumstances, how would they afford to obviously, finance this business. And for those buyers that pass our checks that we get a good feel for on behalf of that broker, we'll get an NDA signed, whether it's a businesses for sale NDA or sometimes the broker will give us their specific NDA as well. And then what we do is we wrap up that information and we present it almost on a silver platter back to that broker. Our job is not to send them 50 leads, it's to send them 5 very qualified buyers that the broker then can follow up with to then have more serious conversations, arrange a site visit, and then look to perhaps, work towards that magic LOI.
So what you're doing with the M&A Vault, the mergers and acquisitions vault on businessesforsale.com is effectively raising the barrier by which the prospective buyer has to jump in order to get through the process to eventually make an inquiry. So is that mean? So it means is it a bigger application process? Is it a bigger form that the buyer has to fill out? What does this? What do buyers have to do to get through to these business opportunities?
So, I'd say the most basic thing is we do ask for some, very basic information. In some instances, for perhaps some bigger businesses that we're helping brokers represent in that instance, we even ask for things like proof of funds. So, typically if the buyer looks good to us on paper, we'll obviously pick up the phone, we'll have a, conversation with that buyer. And buyers obviously take all different shapes and sizes. People may be fed up with the corporate life cycle. They want to sort of jump out on their own. So, let's understand what that particular buyer is looking for and see what we have that will work with them.
Do you see a lot of that? Do you see a lot of corporate, managerial, professional employees making the jump into business? Is that your experience with some of these buyer sort of profiles that you're coming through? Is that something you're seeing more of now as a response to what's happening post pandemic?
So, as you know, Businesses for Sale is an international website, right? So we represent buyers from around the world. So in the United States, we have the great system over here, the SBA Small Business Administration loan system, which makes it very easy for somebody to sort of, even with as little as 5% down, get up to $5 million as a loan. So that really fuels the US economy from a buying and selling of businesses perspective. In Canada and perhaps some other territories, it's not so easy. So to
How
answer
well
your
known?
specific
How
question,
well known is the SBA loan system in America
I
amongst
don't think, yeah,
entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs?
I think everybody's heard of it, but they perhaps don't know what it is. I know we have a great article, maybe we can link to it on this YouTube channel that
Yes.
obviously explains the SBA system over here. And I think we've even got some contacts that we can, introduce to you to talk about that. But
So I
even
was
if,
just going
as
to
I say,
say,
it's let us 5% down.
well, that's incredible. I mean, I think it's worth repeating with as little as 5% of what the overall prospective transaction value,
Yeah,
you can then raise up to how much?
up to $5 million.
Wow, that's
So
pretty
a lot
impressive.
of people that are in corporate right now, obviously, scrolling through social media, looking to be their own boss, etc., they do take advantage of that. Now, in other territories, Canada has their own BDC, the government loan system over there, not as well known, not as big as the SBA, but I know a lot of buyers are taking advantage of that in Canada in order to do the same. But we get to see buyers of all shapes and sizes. We have connections with family offices, private equity, high net worth individuals, other businesses looking to make strategic acquisitions. So our database is very, very extensive. So our job is, as I say, is to qualify the right buyers for you for that particular broker in order to then present that to the owners, etc.
Nick, as two Brits, both of us entrepreneurs, right? And Nick and I go back a long way. Uh, and we were both involved in starting businessesforsale.com. We look at the American system with a little bit of envy, don't we?
Absolutely,
I mean, there's
absolutely.
nothing comparable to that in the UK, is there? SBA
No,
loans.
no. It's very unique to the US, and they are very lucky to have that over here. And as I say, it does fuel the the US economy with obviously that great system in place. And the good news is you can go almost to any bank in the United States. There's hundreds of banks in the US that offer the SBA system, which is all guaranteed and backed by the US government.
Nick, I think that's a really fabulous introduction to what Businesses for Sale is doing, uh, to kind of embrace the M&A sort of cycle of buying and selling businesses for the SME, the small and medium-sized enterprise. Normally, it's, as we both know, it's such a complex sort of process when buying or selling a business that often it involves a lot of hours, a lot of exchange of information, a lot of commitment in the process, whether you're a buyer or a seller. But I think what we're doing at businessesforsale.com, and I think what you're spearheading with the mergers and acquisitions team, which is global and run out of the US, is you're democratizing the M&A process by leveraging technology and simplifying the process and making it easier for people to transact in this sophisticated way. Look, I think it's very exciting, and what we're going to do, if anyone's tuned in to this debut video that we've made, we're going to do this hopefully weekly and just get into the nitty gritty. I think today's insight about SBA loans is absolutely crucial. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the article that we wrote at businessesforsale.com to this video. And if you liked it, subscribe, like, and we'll be back again next week, Nick. Always good to see you, Nick. And for all those listening in, thank you, and hopefully see you again. So with more insights next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you.